Hi and welcome. What is it reviewing today, you might wonder? Why not just go with the big heavy hitters straight away? Well, if I did that, there wouldn't be any big heavy hitters left for later. I want a good mix here. Also, on the day that I publish this video, I'm out on holiday filming some epic brands for you. So bear with me, they will come out. But first, we are looking at Anno 1852 Cognac Lössnus, and from the same brand, Anno 1852 Whisky Lössnus. These are really cheap brands. It's a little bit hard to work out who even makes them. They are sort of made for an online store. Probably V2 Tobacco, but I'm not even sure about that. It does say on one website that it's a manufacturer called Swede, which I never heard of before. So yeah, might be V2, but we know that they are very cheap. I tried the Anno Sweet Rum Lössnus before, which is the Sötrom Lössnus, and actually quite liked it. Didn't have much of a proper rum taste, but it was quite interesting and sweet, like a dirty pleasure for the dessert snus, really. This video is also a bit of a tribute to Ove of Snus Freak. He's not making any videos anymore. Hopefully he'll come back one day. But a tribute to his brutal honesty and straight talking, just say it as he sees it, reviews, something that I aspire to doing. The Whisky Lössnus, he gave a full 1 out of 10, which was the lowest he's ever given. I think a little bit later he also gave Siberia Brown at 1 out of 10. So we'll see how it is. But I did like the Anno 1852 Sweet Rum, so we'll see. Both of these have 37 grams of tobacco, and I believe they are 8 milligrams per gram of nicotine in both. No cardboard back and no catch lid. They're both loose snuses. So as I said, they're sort of stocked online mainly, I believe. You can get these at snus24.com. Very cheap snuses. So it's fun to. I think it's fun to try different kinds of brands, not just the big famous ones. I like they have some quirky, different ones on the market. I mean, I've never tried a cognac snus before. So I read about the cognac one that it sort of should be sort of brings back the old times. That's what it says about that one. So let's get into it. Start with the cognac, I think. Save the whiskey for later. And the Crafted Carters review is still coming up, by the way. It'll be nice to have this one fresh in my mind and compare, I guess. Okay, but first... Oh. Please open sesame. There we go. Right. Yeah, check that out. It's very muddy. And that reminds me a lot of the sweet rum, which looked just like that. And that is interesting because it smells a little bit like it as well. It's sweet. Should have a bit of a brandy taste to it. It's not really brandy. It's very close to the sweet rum, actually. Okay. Not unpleasant, that's the thing. It's like an old school confectionery almost, like it's almost chocolatey again. Not like modern candy or anything like that, but it does feel a bit sort of old school in a way, which is quite nice. But not really traditional snus smell there. It's more sweets, but old school sweets. Whiskey. Okay. Looks exactly the same. Muddy stuff. Smell. What? Okay, there's pretty much no whiskey smell coming through. And they are extremely similar. It's almost like it's the same snus, and they're both very similar to the sweet rum Lössnus. So it's like they have some sort of old school confectionaries, sweets, chocolatey base, muddy, that does not resemble snus as I know it much, but not unpleasant in its taste. So we'll see how these are. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be premium to be good, and I think the trick here is probably not to think too much about cognac or whiskey, because it doesn't really smell like that. Check it out. It's very muddy, very Play-Doh-like, extremely easy to bake. Doesn't really have a snus consistency as such. It's dipping your finger in mud or some chocolate mix. Big prill of that. Yeah, still fit in there. Okay. It doesn't smell bad, but it doesn't smell traditional snus. It just smells quite sweet. See if there's any difference between the two, and I'll get right back to you and I'll tell you what I think about them. Do they mudslide? Yes, they do. A lot. They're very muddy in the consistency. Very different style of snus. They are pretty sweet, but it's like a traditional, as I said, traditional confectionery taste to these ones. They're very similar to the Cognac Lössnus. So in a way, I don't know why they have 3 different products, because if you're looking for the whiskey taste, this is rubbish for that. If you're just looking at what it says on the can, I think a bit of false marketing almost, and they're shooting themselves in the foot there. Same with the cognac, really. They are very similar. Traditional, but not traditional snus, if that makes sense. They are reminding me of sort of walking into, like, I don't know, like a old school market. I would expect to find like a homemade snus there that would taste like this. So if you're looking for a whiskey snus or a cognac snus, these are not good for those flavors, but I do like the flavor. It's very full and rich for a very cheap snus, but not a lot of the richness of the tobacco. It's more about the sweet dessert-like confectionery. So för you Swedish guys, om ni tar 2 stycken punschpraliner och tar bort de här vita prickarna och kör upp där, det är typ den smaken ni får. English viewers, there's something called snow caps or non-pareils in America, I think. I don't know if they taste exactly like the Swedish punschpraliner, but it's got that sort of muddy chocolate consistency, so you could just mash that up and put up there. It's similar, but it has a bit of a sweet rum taste, the Swedish version of that. Which is why I would go with the Cognac Lössnus rather than the cognac or whiskey, because the base is almost the same, and whatever flavoring they put in for whiskey, cognac or rum, it's not premium. It doesn't taste like those types of booze, but there is some saltiness helping it up, so it doesn't feel like just putting a chocolate in your mouth. It's still a pleasant taste. So it's got the saltiness. There is a little bit of bitterness, especially I think in the whiskey one. So maybe the whiskey is not quite as full. It doesn't work with that base confectionery taste as much. So I would say they should probably just have one snus, and it should be the Cognac Lössnus. That's the one I would buy of the 3, because it goes more naturally, the rum taste with the sweetness. But don't expect a premium kind of rum there. So yeah, traditional confectionery, but hardly even snus as we know it. But I like that they do exist on the market, because they have a very specific taste to them. And a taste, an old school confectionery taste that I'm quite fond of. So I'm not going to review it, give it a score as for a whiskey snus. I can understand you would go and think this is absolute rubbish, because there is no whiskey taste whatsoever. So it's so cheap as well. So it's actually a really nice, full, rich, sweet taste. But the richness doesn't come from the tobacco. The tobacco doesn't sing at all in it. It doesn't have robustness as such. The roundness comes from a sort of mellow sweetness yeah, I still like it. I like the taste. That's it. So I'm going to give the Cognac Lössnus 6.5 out of 10, and the whiskey I'm going to give it a 6 because I think they're tasty, but don't expect snus almost. Don't expect traditional snus. Expect traditional confectionery here. So if you're intrigued by that, definitely pick it up. Pick the Cognac Lössnus up. I would over these two. Pretty much the same snus. So for next week, I will be. Right now, I'm in Sicily when you see this. So hopefully, I'll upload some footage from Sicily for next week's video. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye.